It's Brad First today. Today we're going to be talking about carbohydrates and everything about that diabetes. We're going to be talking about simple and the complex carbohydrates too, just as well. So let's get into that. So what are carbohydrates? So carbohydrates are any of a large class, a large group of organic compounds found in foods and also found in living tissue. And examples are going to be starches, cellulose, sugar, too, just as well. What are simple carbohydrates? So when we're looking at simple carbohydrates, sorry for that face in a minute, but throat's kind of hurting me right now. But when we're looking at simple carbohydrates, we're looking at a carbohydrate such as glucose that consisting of a single or one monosaccharide unit. And let's get done with that too. So we'll talk about which one is bad, which one you need to stay away from, and which one you need to get more of too in foods. And we're going to talk about the foods highest in complex carbohydrates and simple carbohydrates too as well. So what are complex carbohydrates? So complex carbohydrates are carbohydrates such as sucrose and starches, consisting of two or more monosaccharide units too, just as well. Now it's good to we're going to be getting into that later after I talk about the foods highest in them too, just as well. And we're going to be talking about the benefits, the downsides of each, the bad things about one and the good things about one, which one is good, which one is bad too, just as well. But foods highest, and now what are the foods highest in simple carbohydrates? So in complex carbohydrates. So we're going to start with complex carbohydrates. So complex carbohydrates, we look at peas, we look at beans, we look at vegetables, we look at whole grains. For complex, for simple carbohydrates, we're looking at fruits, we're looking at vegetables, we're looking at milks, we're looking at refined sugar products that are highest in refined sugar too, just as well, along with high fructose corn syrup products that are found highest in that too. Also a very good source, not a good source, but are very high in simple carbohydrates and simple sugars too, just as well. Now, what is the downside of simple sugars, of simple carbohydrates? Let's finish this off here. Alright, now it's 2 minutes into the video. I hope to finish this real soon for you guys. But one of the things about this is that they're really bad because they can increase chances of heart failure, of heart disease, of cardiovascular diseases, of premature death too, as well, along with liver failure, along with bad liver function and premature death, type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity. And then the thing about this is that complex carbohydrates can decrease the risk of heart disease, of heart attacks, strokes, and along with that, bad liver function and liver failure too. When we talk about that, we talk about premature death. Damn fucking eagles! It's geez, what is it? 7 o'clock. The eagles are still out. You know, I find that actually very surprising, along with decreasing the chances of type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes due to as well insulin resistance and insulin sensitivity, just as well as that. And that's a major thing. We'll look at that, why they're bad, because they can increase the risk of that. And the complex sugars, of course, can decrease the risk of that too, just as well. But that's the major cause for heart disease, cardiovascular disease. When we're talking about carbohydrates, we're talking about premature death too, as well. Now with the decaffeination video, I might revisit that. Decaffeinated coffee is, I've never tried it before, but that's the healthiest kind of coffee that you can, even get. But we're not going to be talking about that because this is not that video today. Anyways, sorry about that. Alright, now we're going to be talking about type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance, and insulin sensitivity too, just as well. Now, what is insulin resistance and insulin sensitivity? It's when the hormone insulin that is produced in the pancreas cannot regulate the blood glucose level, your blood sugar level, so it leads to high blood sugars and low blood sugar, blood sugar level that is out of control, not stable, and that cannot be contained, that cannot be managed too, just as well, and which it creates problem for the hormone insulin because it cannot be made in the body. And we're looking at type 1 diabetes. What are we going to be talking about? So we're going to be talking about when blood glucose level is either too high or too low. And then the thing about this is that it leads to that it creates problem with the pancreas making the hormone insulin, and the hormone insulin and the hormone glucagon are crucial for stabilizing and controlling the blood glucose level to make sure we don't have things like low blood sugar, high blood sugar, type 2 diabetes, and we don't have diabetes, we don't have any of that. But yeah, anyways, getting away from that fact, it's to the point where blood glucose level is either too high or too low. It's not controlled. And so the thing about this is that the insulin cannot even the hormone insulin cannot even be made, cannot be produced in the pancreas, so it cannot even come in and regulate the blood glucose level because it's not even being made. In the hormone glucagon, we cannot solely rely on that for stabilizing and controlling the blood glucose level because it is not good for that. It's not the number one hormone for doing that. There's two hormones, glucagon, and there's also the hormone insulin that is produced in the pancreas. So insulin is kind of the major one because this creates complications down the line too, just as well. Now, what are those complications that I wanted to talk about? I wanted to talk about when the hormone insulin is not even being made in the body anymore, and blood glucose levels are off the charts. It's way too unstable. It's not even being controlled at this point, and usually having low blood sugar to high blood sugar and developing diabetes too, just as well. And type 1 diabetes, sorry to say this, but that's almost nearly impossible to to fight that disease, because when we talk about that type 2 diabetes is really simple because we just get our blood sugar level control. We keep our carbohydrate intake at a constant and make sure that it's not too low or too high, but just right. So the hormone insulin, because we made, and the hormone insulin is still being made in the body in type 2 diabetes. This is the thing, it's still being made in the body. So the thing about this is we have a higher chance of it regulating blood glucose level along with glucagon. And the thing about that type 1 diabetes is not even being made in the body, along with it not even being made in the body. We're going to looking at artificial ways of getting insulin back in our body, artificial handmade ways other than the natural way, and we're going through unnatural ways to get it back in the body. And this is going to really, fuck up the pancreas, the process, along with making that insulin, along with producing it, because it has solely one job, and that is to regulate the regulation of the blood glucose level, of the blood sugar level, to make sure we don't have things like low blood sugar to high blood sugar too, just as well. And yeah, we have to look at that to get insulin back in our body to stabilize the blood glucose level, to control our blood glucose level, our blood sugar level. We have to look at those artificial, those handmade ways to get it back in our body. And that's pretty much the video for you guys today. Anyways, I want to talk about carbohydrates mainly. I talk about protein. I talk about the benefits of that. I talk about the benefits of this too, just as well. And I just wanted to say that, just right now, to get that video done, because I did the fat video, revisited, I did the protein video and a lot of amino acid video revisited, so I want to do the carbohydrate video revisited for you guys, so you guys get, kind of this information, about type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes, and insulin resistance, and also insulin sensitivity when the hormone insulin cannot be made in the body, so when it cannot be produced in the body, it cannot be able to regulate blood sugar level, blood glucose level, leading to low to high blood sugar too, just as well. And know this, that type 1 diabetes, it's nearly impossible, very hard to, but if you keep your carbohydrate intake stable, it's not too high or too low, it's just right, you're getting more of the good sugars, you're focusing on more of the good sugars. When we're focusing on the good sugars, when we talk about complex sugars, we're not talking about simple sugars, of course, that lead to low blood sugar to high blood sugar and lead to complications with the hormone insulin being made in the body and the regulation of the blood glucose level and all that, and glucagon. Glucagon is not the number one hormone for doing that, so we cannot solely rely on glucagon, because glucagon is nothing. Without insulin, glucagon is nothing. It falls down. It gets all fucked up, and it's powerless against the blood sugar level, against controlling it. Our blood glucose level too, just well, blood sugar, it cannot do anything from that point on. And then that's when we start to having cardiovascular disease. We have heart attacks, we have strokes, we have liver failure, bad liver function, we have premature death, type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes, insulin resistance. We have also insulin sensitivity along with blood sugar spikes too, just as well as that what we have when the amount of carbohydrates, they're going up way too much, are increasing by way too much, the uncontrolled, the not being stabilized, because not being stabilized. Now, why are they not stabilized? Because I used to call it stability. It's funny. I used to call it that. Just speaking about that, it's very, 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 very funny on that point. But yeah, stabilizing it and controlling it too, and just making sure it's at a constant, so we make sure we don't have blood sugar spikes, we don't have blood glucose level spikes, not going up, they're not increasing by too much or decreasing by too much, but they're literally remaining in the middle and going at the same time. We have a balanced amount of good sugars and bad sugars, simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates too, just amount, but more of the good, less of the bad. And so we're making sure to fix all of these problems that we create with the hormone insulin, with the hormone glucagon, and stabilizing and controlling the blood glucose level is really solely the mission that is what we have to do right now when we focus on diabetes, type 1 diabetes. We talk about type 2 diabetes. That is easy. It can be controlled. It can be stabilized because the hormone insulin is still being made in the body. It's not hard for the hormone insulin. It's not definite that the hormone insulin is being deprived from the body. It's not even being made in the body. It's preventing it from being made in the body fully because it's being made in the body. So it's easy, keep your carbohydrate intake stable. Make sure it's not too high or too low, and you can really start stabilizing it too, just as well when we talk about that. And that's basically the major thing in this video today that I wanted to talk about. That too, just as well. Type 1 diabetes is way worse than type 2 diabetes. And that's the thing that you guys want to try to invent this in the video. I hope you guys get this information as clear as I can say. And we talk about the foods, we talk about the benefits, we talk everything about carbohydrates in this video. Hope you guys get this message that I'm saying. And have a good night. I love you guys. Bryce, finish out. We'll do a macronutrient video talking about protein, carbohydrates, amino acids, omega-3 fatty acids, non-saturated fats tomorrow. Bye guys. Love you guys. Bryce, finish out.